You are going to hate me after what I am about to tell you. But if you have less than a certain amount invested, compounding sucks, and you are probably below it right now. You think compounding is always working for you, but that is a massive lie told by people trying to sell you a dream. It is not working yet. For years, maybe even decades, it is barely doing anything at all. Everyone says trust the process, but they skip the part where your portfolio sits completely flat for what feels like forever. You start wondering if you are doing something wrong while you watch your friends buy new trucks and go on fancy cruises. You are not doing anything wrong, you just haven't hit the number yet. And once you do hit that number, everything changes in a way that feels like magic, but is actually just cold, hard math. There is a specific dollar amount sitting inside the compounding curve, a threshold that separates the fakes from the wealthy. Once your portfolio crosses it, the math shifts in a way that most investors never fully understand until they are already on the other side of it. Before that number, you are the engine. Your paycheck, your discipline, your sacrifice, and that crappy $5 coffee you drink every morning to save money is what is moving the needle. After that number, something else takes over, and it is a beautiful thing to witness. For the first time in your investing life, your money starts doing more work than you do. Hypothetically, at the beginning, it is actually better to use your money to build a business that can reach that figure and not start investing in stocks until you hit that. In this video, I am going to show you exactly what that number is and how to get there in the fastest possible way without losing your mind. So make sure to stay until the end if you want to have a step-by-step strategy that actually works in the real world. Leave a like and let us start with something that almost nobody talks about, which is how boring and discouraging the early years of investing actually are. Say you open a brokerage account at 20 years old. You are earning a decent income, let us say around $90 a year. You decide to be disciplined like a monk. You save 20% of your income every single month without fail. So that is about $20 a month going into index funds, like VO or VTI. You set it up automatically so you don't even see the money. You don't touch it. You do everything right year ends. And you check your account while sitting in your downtown Easter Seamouse Edan with Yarding Lininin Unilas on the clock. You have put in around UN Wubai dollars and the market return may be 10%. So your balance is around UN 10 Wubai dollars. Great. But does it feel great? Not really. It feels like you worked an entire year of overtime and late nights and you barely moved. Year 2 is the same thing. You keep contributing and you keep driving that old car. The account grows a little faster. Now maybe you are at $10 by the end of year 5, rolls around and you are somewhere around 10 to t-shirt. $99, that is real money. But it has taken you years of consistent discipline to get there. No expensive vacations, no lifestyle upgrades, no designer clothes, just steady contributions. Year sure, you check the account. You might be looking at something like Yao Tilin, Lininin to Shibawen $10. And here's where it gets psychologically strange and painful. You have been doing this for a decade. Sure years of discipline, sure years of delayed gratification, sure years of watching your friends spend money you chose to save. And yet the account doesn't look dramatically different from what you would have if you just stuffed cash in a drawer. The compounding is happening, but it is quiet and almost invisible. This is the phase where most investors quit, not because they run out of money, but because they run out of patience. And that is a massive problem, because the thing they are quitting right before is the thing that would have changed their entire life. So what is actually happening mathematically during these early years? And why does it feel so discouraging even when you are technically doing everything right? Let us get into the actual numbers, because this is where it gets interesting and where the dry powder stays. The SP Wubai Gonsin S delivered an average annual return of around 10% since Itenjobai Wushiti, including dividends. That number is real, and it is historical data going back nearly 10 years. More recently, over the last century years through the end of Liaotian RCC, the average annual return has been closer to 10%, and over the last years from Liaotian Ishijiu to Liaotian RCC, the SP Wudinin averaged 0%. So the data is consistent and the market over long periods grows. That is not the issue. The issue is what 10% actually means when applied to a small portfolio. Because when your portfolio is small, 10% of a small number is still a small number. If you have $10 invested, and the market returns 10% you made down $10. That is nice, but you probably contributed more than that in a single month of hard work. Your savings rate is still outrunning your returns by a wide margin. At $10, a 10% return gives you $10 better, but your contributions are probably still doing more work than the market is. At $10, 10% gives you $10. Now we are finally getting somewhere. If you are contributing $1 a year, the market is almost matching your personal contribution almost. But here is where it shifts and the curve starts to bend. At $9 a % return gives you $9 in a single year. That is more than most people invest annually in their entire lives. The market just outworked your savings rate and your balance didn't even look like it jumped. It just quietly moved from $9 to $9 still looks boring on the surface, and your neighbor still has a nicer car than you. Now let us go to $9. Same % return. That is $10 of growth in 1 year. Tax advantage with no additional effort and no raise required from your boss. Just a portfolio doing its job while you sleep. And then you hit at the real threshold, the number where everything accelerates, $9. At $9 a % annual return gives you $9. That is the equivalent of a massive raise that you didn't have to earn or negotiate or trade your precious hours for. If you are saving $10 a year from your paycheck, the market just doubled your annual progress, and you did nothing differently. This is the inflection point. This is the moment where the capital takes over. And if you want to get there faster, you can just open your own YouTube channel, since YouTube is on easy mode now, and it is blowing up every small channel that does things right, as I teach you in my free community in the link below. Now I want to be precise here because the exact threshold is different for everyone, depending on their savings rate. But research into contribution versus compounding dynamics shows that around $9 to $9 is where the average investor sees the shift, for someone contributing between $9 and $9 annually market returns begin consistently outpacing personal contributions. That is the zone, and $9 sits right in the middle of it like a beacon of freedom. This is backed by real math, not feelings. At a % return, $9 generates $9 annually. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median American household saves less than $9 per year. That means at $9, the average investor's portfolio is already growing faster than their ability to add to it. The portfolio has officially taken over as the primary engine of wealth creation. That is a massive shift, and most people cross that threshold without even realizing it happened. But here is what makes this hard to see in real time, because life is noisy. Even after you cross $9, the compounding doesn't feel explosive right away. Year ye at $9, the portfolio grows to $9. Fine. Year 2, maybe $10. Okay. Year 3, around $9,900. You are close to $9, but it still feels slow. Year 5, somewhere around $10. Now it is moving, but it still doesn't feel like a surge. Year by you are over $9. Year sure, you are pushing $9 to $9. Year shu, you are well over $9 and year arshi, with continued contributions you are looking at somewhere between $9 and $9. Even with a conservative % assumption, the curve was always bending upward. You just couldn't feel it in real time. This is how compounding actually works. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It builds silently in the background while you are busy living your life. And then one day you look at your account and the growth from a single year is more than you made at your first job out of college. There's another layer here that most people miss entirely. It is not just about the returns getting bigger, it is about what happens to your relationship with your income and your time. When your portfolio is small, your financial life depends almost entirely on your job. A pay cut hurts, and losing your job is a massive crisis. A bad year at work means a bad year for your finances, full stop. But once you have $9 working in the market, your portfolio starts becoming a second income source, a silent one that doesn't require your time or your energy or your presence in a cubicle. At $9 generating $9 annually in returns, that is money moving without you. It doesn't care if you had a bad month or if you are tired. It doesn't take sick days. It doesn't get passed over for promotion because of office politics. And as that number grows, the portfolio becomes progressively more powerful than your paycheck. At $9, it is generating $9 a year in average returns. At $9, it is over $9 a year. Not every single year, but on average over time. This is the leverage shift that changes everything, and it starts for most people right around $9. But now I need to tell you the part that nobody puts in the highlight reel, because it is not sexy, because this is where most investors quietly destroy years of progress without realizing it. Reaching $99 feels like an achievement, and it is. But psychologically, it creates a dangerous trap. After years of discipline, you finally feel like you have made it somewhere. You finally feel like you have earned the right to breathe and spend. And that feeling is exactly what compounding does not need you to have right now. Because the years immediately after $99 are the most powerful compounding years you will ever experience. The curve is finally bending and the momentum is building. The cost of interrupting it right now is higher than it has ever been in your life. Let me show you what that actually means with real numbers. Say you have hit $99. The market drops, which it will at some point, because that is what markets do. A normal correction takes your $99 down to $10. That is a % drop. It feels devastating, and it looks like years of work evaporating into thin air. So you do what feels smart to your lizard brain. You move to cash. You wait for things to settle down so you can feel safe again. But here's what the data shows. Missing even the sheer best days in the market over a century-year period can cut your total return nearly in half. According to a JP Morgan study, an investor who stayed fully invested in the SP Woodinin from sen to Ard earned an average annual return of 4%. An investor who missed just the sheer best days over those Arsha years earned 0%. Miss the Arsha best days and you are down to R%. Those sheer best days often happen during or immediately after the worst stretches of the market. If you are sitting in cash waiting for things to feel safe, you miss them. And at $99, missing them isn't just expensive. It is compounding expensive, because every dollar that stays out of the market is a dollar that isn't compounding for your future self. And at this stage, each dollar compounds faster than ever. The second trap is one that feels completely rational but costs you enormously over time. Lifestyle inflation. You have been disciplined for years. You have watched other people buy new cars and upgrade their homes while you kept contributing. Now you have $99, and it finally feels okay to enjoy some of it. So you upgrade the car, maybe $10. You tell yourself you have earned it and you deserve it. Here is the math on that decision. $10 removed from a portfolio at $99 left alone for Arsha years at a sheer % average. Return would have become roughly $99. You didn't just buy a car. You spent $99 of future wealth on a car today. A car that, by the way, will be worth almost nothing in sheer years. This isn't about living like you are broke forever. It is about understanding the real cost of pulling capital out of compounding at this exact stage. Because you are not pulling out money, you are pulling out momentum. The people who build figure portfolios are not, for the most part, people who out-earned everyone else. They are people who understood two things very clearly. First, once the engine starts running, you protect it with your life. Second, YouTube is on easy mode now, and it is the best time to start. So they joined my free community below to get help from me. So let us bring this together. The first phase of investing from zero to around $99 is brutal. Everything depends on you. Your contributions do almost all the work. The market help is minimal. This phase requires the most discipline for the smallest visible reward, and it is where most people give up. The second phase, to $99, is where compounding starts showing up in a meaningful way. Your returns are becoming noticeable, but you are still doing most of the heavy lifting. Your savings rate still matters more than your returns. And then there is the third phase, the one that starts around $99. This is where the math changes. This is where your portfolio starts generating returns that exceed your annual savings.